Welcome to Somerset Showcase. Today we are going to be talking to Beth Rogers, who is the co-founder of the Superhero Alex Foundation. I know a lot of people in town probably know about Superhero Alex, but can you tell me how the foundation started?
Sure. Yeah, the foundation started, actually incorporated May 11th of 23. And the reason why we started it was to give back to the community. When we were going through this, Somerset was incredibly supportive to us, and we also, like, going through it, we saw such a need. It's when you go through this, it's multi-leveled and layered, like the different stresses that families go through, like financially, and we just, by like living through it, we knew the need.
Can you tell me a bit about what you lived through during that time? And just for people, because I think most people in Somerset know who Superhero Alex is, but just for people who may not.
Yes, so April 29th of 21 was very shocking. Alex was diagnosed with ALLB, leukemia, and we got the results of this testament that directly went to Boston, and it was supposed to be 28 to 30 day induction period, and the goal is to get the patient into remission and then start like a 2-year plan. And like 3 weeks into it, we were on target. In fact, maybe leaving a little earlier. And then one side effect went into another, and our 28 to 30 day stay turned into 80. So we ended up critical in the ICU with a lot of intense side effects, where oncology actually took a back seat to managing the side effects. So we were there 80 days for that first induction period, and then that first year we were actually there like a full school year. We were in for 180 days. The plan was originally not a transplant. It was to just follow the 2-year treatment plan, but then in October they felt a transplant would be the best way, so we shifted gears and headed down the transplant road.
So, I mean, because it relates to why you started this foundation, can you tell me about the community support that you got around that time? I remember there being lots of signs around town.
Yeah, and that was huge because, we were in Boston, and, family comes up as much as they can, but Boston's a tough ride, and it's, so we had like support there, but we spent a lot of time alone too, and of course being in a hospital room, it's not like being home. You can find projects to do at home, and you can keep busy, but when you're there, it's a lot of alone time. And we got a call. Alex, it was so funny because he said, "Mom, I want to go home in a limo." And I said, well, this is probably 4 days before, I think it was 4 days before we were getting discharged. And then I got a call saying, "Would you like us to bring you home in a limo?" So I said, absolutely, it'd be, and he wore a suit, and I was very excited, got a suit, and we had a state police escort front and back getting us home. And we stopped at Bristol Aggie and Dighton. Emergency vehicles brought us to the Somerset line, and there we had, I think, every vehicle that Somerset had. It had to be almost everyone was in the line, and it was at that moment when we crossed, and there were just signs everywhere, and it was because you're still kind of in shock that this has happened, and you're like, this is real. This was, it made it real on many levels, but it was just to see County Street lined up, and just, they were everywhere, businesses, houses, and that was when a crucial point when we realized like we weren't alone. You know, like there was so much, and we had no idea up there like the support coming from here.
I think I remember there being lots of birthday cards too.
Yeah, he got his birthday is July 2nd, so he got a ton of cards, and then for Christmas, we got over 10,000 cards. Like they were just, it took us 2 years to open them, and yeah, it was just Somerset, Swan. I mean, I think it was almost all of Massachusetts. Every community in Rhode Island was represented because we kept a map, you know. So yeah, it was. The hospital had to tell us to send the card, change the address, and not to send anymore. They couldn't handle the mail, so.
So, when did you start the foundation?
We incorporated May 11th of 23. So yeah.
And I know that's not an easy thing to do. You got to put a little bit of work into doing that to get it started up, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's it doesn't look like it on paper, but it's like you think you know there's a lot of things that you have to go through and through the state, through the IRS, and it's just a lot of paperwork. But we're lucky we have an amazing board, and you know we push through that. So
tell me who you have on that board.
So my sister's co-founder, Kristen Rogers, and then my co-pilot, vice president, is Rita Braga. Secretary is Gaby Santos, treasurer Nell Sharves, Jeff Marks, director of golf, and then our 3 directors, Sue Phoenix, Deb Charette, and Patty Steele.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me about some of the fundraisers that you've done.
Yeah, we've done, well, our first one was a golf tournament, which was last September. And we were rained out from the actual golf, but we had the dinner, and that's when I think Somerset just kind of the first one we canceled the dinner on a Thursday, and then we canceled the morning on the Saturday morning, and we had basically 48 hours to go from a dinner at the country club to a dinner at the American Legion, in the American Legion Hall, like, you know, within very short notice. Took us, Maraffas, got the food, and we sold out at that dinner. So it was just like Somerset. Just I remember standing there, just looking at the door, and just it didn't stop. You know, we filled it up. So it was incredibly successful. And then the following April, we did with Steve Manchester a comedy show. That was incredibly successful too. That was at White's. I think we had close to 400 people there, which was it was amazing.
Yeah. Steve has one of those every year to help a kid.
He does.
He is a great person.
Very lucky, yeah. He's a wonderful friend, and he worked really, really hard. We'll never forget that night. That was awesome. And then we did another golf tournament, but we were just talking to the boys on the way over that we're in a drought, and so Dylan said, when's the last time it rained? I said, like our golf tournament.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it rained. It didn't rain like all of September. It rained like the Friday before. Halfway, like, so I know Steve was at a golf tournament that one. They got half of that one in, and then Saturday we just got washed out, and then it hasn't really rained since then, so.
But next year you're going to have it earlier in the year, so that if you get unlucky again, you'll have time to reschedule it.
Yeah, we just felt, you know, September was a nice month too, like weather-wise.
Yeah.
But it's also hurricane season, and I think that last month, you know, was the effect of that. So, as a board, we felt let's just shift it. We're 0 for 2, so let's just shift it to June, and see, you know. So we're hoping 3rd time's a charm, and we get in there this year.
Yeah, the weather can be good in June.
Yeah, we're hoping it would be just nice because our golfers are so supportive, and you know it's hard to make that call. Like they saw the weather, they knew, but for 2 years in a row, it was disappointing, you know. But they were very, very good. So and said they'll sign up for the next one, and so we're incredibly grateful for that they're sticking with us, you know.
And so tell me where the money from these fundraisers goes and how it helps these families, the costs that are involved with having a child who has a major illness.
Yeah, it's funny because one person said to me, well, people have insurance. And I said, that's true. And luckily insurance covers, probably most of things for people, but it's the hidden expenses of treatment. Like we were going to Boston sometimes 5 times a week, and then sometimes it was, and then at the very minimum it was 2 or 3 in the beginning. So you think of just the driving back and forth to Boston, so gas, wear and tear in your car, more oil changes, parking. Parking's not cheap.
No, not
And if you eat, like sometimes we were there, and they were good there too, they would help you with the food, but you can be there for 8 hours. And then you have another 2-hour ride home with traffic, hour and a half ride home, so you want to eat. So all those expenses just add up that you wouldn't naturally incur, driving. Yeah, and you think like it's just even oil changes or tires, it's just you're going through that more than I had a 7-minute commute to work. So it was a big change there. And then, if you're working less, which I resigned from my job, and maybe we'll go back to that, but those are things that people don't think of.
Yeah, so there's a lot of, like you said, hidden expenses.
Hidden, yeah.
And I hate driving to Boston. I always take the T. So,
right. Well, it depends. Like we've had some good days, but you're guaranteed. I mean, it's an hour on paper, but once we did it in like just about an hour. We had one like
you had a little system.
We just lucked out, but most of the time it's an hour and a half.
Okay.
And sometimes longer depending. And so it's a long day. Yeah.
So you helped out a family this past year, and you gave them a big check. I think Alex presented the check to them, right? Can you tell me a little bit about that? And I saw them at your last fundraiser.
Yes, they were there. It was, we were stunned as a community and heartbroken because I don't think a lot of people knew of the situation. It was, and then when we heard about it, it was very quick. I remember Jeff Marks called me and we was looking at their GoFundMe, and I think the GoFundMe was set for like 40,000, and they were like in the mid-20s, I think. So we met as a board. We decided that we would get to the balance of the GoFundMe, so to get to that 40, so we gave a check for 15, which, like in the goal, it was asking to help with, just expenses, and because they were hit really hard with 2 medical situations going on, at once. So it was an amazing feeling to be able to, because there's nothing, like you really can't do anything in this situation, and you feel helpless, but to be able to give that to that family and help them through that was an amazing feeling.
And this was the Dean family,
yes,
whose son had cancer. He was a student at the high school before he passed away, unfortunately, just before the school year started.
Yeah.
I mean, because one of the things I think you said about the foundation was it's not just for financial support, but emotional support as well. How do you do that with the foundation?
Yeah, that's where we're looking into helping, and even a lot of times people say, well, what can we do? And people want to help, and I know for us, like getting to Boston was hard. If he wasn't feeling well, I couldn't drive. I would be in the back seat if he's getting sick or just uncomfortable. So maybe eventually help with some kind of system of providing transportation, or helping with family that, if there's kids at home. My kids are older, but if you have younger kids still in activities, maybe to help defray the cost or help the family maintain as normal a life as possible.
Yeah.
You know, because those are all issues, areas that people I don't think you think about as much unless you're in it, you know.
Yeah. The cost for activities nowadays is a lot. I remember when I played basketball when I was a kid, it was like $6 to join. Now these kids pay a lot of money to play sports and dance and everything else.
Yeah, and it's the costumes, it's the, you know, it's so much money. And I know, like, if my kids were younger and they were involved in that, that would have had to stop. You know, priorities would be, you know, obviously paying the bills and putting food on the table, and it wouldn't be extracurriculars. So we're not there yet, George, like, but that's our goal, is to help in those situations so like siblings can maintain, you know, what they were doing, and maybe even a gift card for parents, you know, get out to, just to go out to eat or massage or, you know, something, because for the caregiver, just to help them.
Yeah, I mean, that's in a lot of different areas. The caregivers are kind of the ones who they need support too. I mean, yeah, I've talked to like people at the COA about taking care of older people and things like that. But those caregivers, sometimes they need help too.
It's a full-time job, and so it's very stressful, and sometimes, you know, just to have an hour, you know, out, or just a meal come to you is huge, you know. So that's, again, we're not there yet, but that's kind of where we're hoping to get to that point.
Well, you've only started this not that long ago, so you've already done some good with helping the Dean family, and
yeah, and it's only been a little over a year and a half, and we've got 3 events you know, under our belt right now. So, and then we're in April, we have one scheduled April 12th, and then the golf tournament will be following, you know, June 22nd, right after that. So. And
your organization is all volunteer. Everything you earn, it's going to be donated to families. Right?
Strict, like we have bare bone. We're very frugal, and we let our sponsors and don't like to know that we're super frugal with our resources, and we make the best of everything, you know, we have, and we're very mindful that you know, Somerset is very involved, and these businesses, they get their doors get knocked on quite often, you know, and so we're very aware of that and grateful for that, because we're just one group, and I know now that I'm involved in this, you see how many golf tournaments there are, and just Somerset alone with what we do. So we're super mindful.
But doing what I do, I have noticed over many years the way that people in Somerset come together when there's someone that needs help. They really step up when there are people in town who...
Yeah, that was amazing to me, because like we've always lived in Somerset, but we're a quiet family. Like we weren't like a well-known family, you know, and when this happened, I'll go back on the Facebook and look, and I'm still shocked at how his page blew up and how much support came. And I think he really did. Everybody came and kind of brought the town together, and we stepped up, and it was amazing to me. And every event, like, there's just a special energy at the events, and we're very fortunate to live in this community, because meeting people from all over, you know, New England, they even responded, like, they're like, wow, you guys have a really special community, that they didn't experience that. So it's there's not a day that goes by that I'm not grateful for that.
If people want to donate to the Superhero Alex Foundation, what should they do?
We just recently have our website up, and we're working on a donation through the website, but we are live. We're working on that. Our account is at St. Michael's Credit Union, so they can make a donation there, or just any check in with our Venmo to the Superhero Alex Foundation, and it'll go directly to the foundation.
Okay. So when is your next fundraiser going to be?
So our next one is April 12th at the Elks in Fall River. It's an Elvis impersonator. We went to go see him in think in Westport this past summer. He was amazing, Dan Fontaine. So we're going to do another spaghetti dinner and a raffle and the concert.
The King of Rock and Roll.
King of Rock and Roll, yes. Yeah.
And how will people get tickets for that? Or you'll be advertising.
We'll be
it,
advertising for that. Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yes. Yeah. I think that can hold about 250. So we're excited about that. But we'll be advertising, after January for that.
Yeah, there's a lot of Elvis fans out there.
I didn't realize that.
Sure.
Yeah, there are. Yeah, he does a really good job. We had a great time. So we're looking forward to that one. Something different.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming in.
Thank you, George.
And telling us about the Superhero Alex Foundation. We'll be out there covering your fundraisers and making donations to families. And so.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Thank you for tuning in to Somerset Showcase. We will see you next time.